portfolio manager downloaded 2,400 client records to a USB drive. He argued every single one of those clients was his. He brought them to the firm. CFA Institute rejected that argument completely. 2-year membership suspension, $25,000 FINRA fine. The exam tests exactly one thing here: knowing when loyalty to employer ends and when it doesn't. Standard IV has 3 substandards. Each one tests a different loyalty trap. Roman IV-A is about loyalty while employed, what you can and cannot do before you walk out the door. Roman IV-B is about additional compensation, moonlighting, side work, outside consulting. Roman IV-C is about supervisory responsibility. What happens when someone you manage violates the standards? The exam tests whether you know the exact line on each one. Roman IV-A creates the single most important distinction on this standard: permitted versus violation. You are allowed to plan for future employment on your own time with your own resources. The moment you cross into employer resources, employer time, employer clients, that's a violation. No client list, no work computer, no office hours. The common wrong answer on exam day is, she was only planning, she hadn't done anything yet. Using employer resources is the violation. The planning doesn't have to succeed. The recipe book rule. A chef compiles a cookbook of public recipes during their time at a restaurant. Every recipe is publicly available. Anyone could find them online. When that chef leaves, can they take the cookbook? No. The compilation is the property. The curation is the property. This is exactly how Standard Roman IV-A treats client lists. Every phone number might be in a public directory. It doesn't matter. The curated client list you built while employed belongs to the employer. The exam tests this with the "I created it myself" defense, which is explicitly rejected in CFA Institute guidance. Exam question 1. Andrea Fisher, CFA, is a portfolio manager at Meridian Asset Management. She has been offered a position at a competitor and has begun preliminary interviews. While still employed at Meridian, Fisher copies the firm's client contact list to her personal drive, intending to reach out after her resignation. She has not yet resigned or accepted the new offer. Which of the following best describes Fisher's conduct? Choice A: Fisher has not violated any standard because she has not yet resigned or solicited any clients. Choice B: Fisher has violated Standard Roman IV-A by misappropriating employer property. Choice C: Fisher has violated Roman IV-A only if the client list was compiled using Meridian's proprietary systems. Pause and choose. Roman IV-B has one rule. Write before you moonlight. Step 1, you receive an outside compensation offer. Step 2, before you accept, you disclose the arrangement in writing to your employer. Step 3, your employer provides written consent. Step 4, only now do you begin the outside work. The exam trap is in Step 3. Verbal approval from your supervisor, even your direct manager, even the CEO, does not satisfy Roman IV-B. Written consent is not bureaucratic. It is the only acceptable form under the standard. Exam question 2. James Aucaffer, CFA, works full-time as an equity analyst at Blue Star Securities. A former client approaches him about providing independent investment advice on evenings and weekends. Aucaffer discusses the arrangement verbally with his supervisor, who says, quote, "That sounds fine." Aucaffer begins providing paid independent advice. Has Aucaffer violated the standards? Choice A: no, because he disclosed the arrangement and received approval. Choice B: yes, because the compensation was not disclosed to all parties. Choice C: yes, because he did not obtain written consent from his employer before beginning. Choose now. Roman IV-C is a proactive duty, not reactive. The exam tests whether you understand what a supervisor must do when a violation is detected. The fire marshal analogy. A fire marshal is not just responsible for calling 911 when the building burns. They are responsible for inspecting the building to prevent fires in the first place. Not knowing about a violation because you never looked for it, that is itself the Roman IV-C failure. When a violation is found, the sequence is clear. Escalate to compliance, restrict the subordinate's activities, document every step. A verbal warning alone is not sufficient. Waiting for compliance to act without follow-up is not sufficient. The hardest Roman IV-C question type. Maria Santos, CFA, is head of research at Continental Wealth Management. She delegates supervision of the trading desk to David Lee, a senior analyst who is not a CFA charter holder. Lee subsequently permits a trader to front-run client orders. Santos was unaware of Lee's actions. Under Standard Roman IV-C, which statement is most accurate? Choice A, Santos has not violated Roman IV-C because she delegated supervisory duties to Lee and was unaware. Choice B, Santos has violated Roman IV-C if she failed to establish adequate compliance procedures and oversight mechanisms. Choice C, Santos has violated Roman IV-C only if she had reason to suspect Lee was permitting violations. This is the delegation trap. Choose carefully. The whistleblowing question. Samuel Wright, CFA, learns that his employer, Pinnacle Investments, has been systematically overcharging client accounts, a practice that violates securities regulations. Wright has raised the issue internally 3 times and been ignored. He is considering reporting the firm to the securities regulator. Under the standards, which action is most consistent with Wright's obligations? Choice A, Wright must remain loyal to his employer and must not report the firm externally without employer consent. Choice B, Wright may report the violations to the regulator because loyalty to employer does not require participation in or concealment of illegal activity. Choice C, Wright must resign before reporting any violations to the regulator. Pause and choose. The exam tests one hierarchy above everything else on Standard IV. Legal obligations sit at the top, always. CFA standards obligations come second. Employer loyalty sits third. Any exam question that pits Standard Roman IV-A loyalty against Standard IA legal compliance. The answer always follows IA. Loyalty to employer does not override the law. It does not override your CFA obligations. Candidates who haven't mapped this hierarchy pick the wrong answer every time. Screenshot this. 8 rules. Every Standard IV exam question traces back to one of these. Roman IV-A, you can plan to leave on personal time with personal resources. You cannot use employer time or resources. Roman IV-A, client lists compiled during employment are employer property. Creation and public availability of the data are irrelevant. Roman IV-A, soliciting employer clients before resignation is a violation even if you take nothing physical. Roman IV-A, loyalty does not require concealment of illegal activity. Report externally after exhausting internal escalation. Roman IV-A, Standard IV does not apply to independent contractors. Roman IV-B, written consent required from employer before outside compensated work begins. Verbal is not sufficient. Roman IV-C, delegating supervision does not transfer supervisory responsibility. Roman IV-C, upon detecting a violation, escalate to compliance, restrict activities, document. A verbal warning alone fails the standard. 4 pattern rules that eliminate wrong answers on Standard IV, every time. Pattern 1, Any question with verbal approval for outside compensation, correct answer involves a violation. Written consent is the only acceptable form under Roman IV, B. Pattern 2. Any question where a supervisor delegates oversight and something goes wrong, supervisor still violated Roman IV, C, unless adequate systems were in place. Delegation is never a full defense. Pattern 3. Any question about public information in a client list context, correct answer is violation. The aggregated list is proprietary regardless of the individual data elements. Pattern 4. Any question pairing employer loyalty with illegal employer activity, correct answer uses the IA carve-out. Loyalty yields to law, every time. If this standard appeared on your exam tomorrow, you would get it right.